0.05 of a mil travelled, 0.05 of a mil backwards, 0.0 of a 5 mil forward, 0.1 mil forward, 0.12 mil, 0.13, 0.14 mil, 0.15 mil, precisely. At least something's being nice and precise. This is a 20 mil shaft. This is a made in China 20mm pillow block. These are the digital calipers that I've been using up till now. The benefit of them is that they claim to go down to 0.01mm precision, and they're nice and easy to read. To give you an example, put them on this rod here. That says 20.01. To measure the inside bore of this, we don't use these part of the calipers, we use this part. Spread them out, it measures inside something, whereas this measures the outside of something. So, according to this, these made in China bearings are about 19.86 or 85. Obviously, this means that these bearings are not going to fit the shaft. The inside of these bearings are hardened steel, so I can't drill them out either to the 20mm that the calipers say that this shaft is. These, on the other hand, are made in America XIKE 20mm bearings. They're made in America, so I trust them to be accurate a lot more than I trust those Chinese ones. So let's see what the bore is on these. .93. Try the other side. 19.91, 93. Now I trust American manufacturers to get 20mm, whereas I wouldn't necessarily trust the cheap and cheerful Chinese ones too. Calipers say this rod is 20mm, so what's going on? These are my other set of calipers. They cost more than the other one, and they are also harder to read because, I guess, these use a vernier system to read the numbers, which means you need good eyesight for picking out which lines are intersecting. Still, in the interest of science, let's have a go. Don't know how well you can see that. And I honestly have trouble reading this one. It does read as a freckle over 20mm. It's a bit over. The other calipers said this was 20, didn't they? So there's the problem. I can either use these calipers, which are nice and easy to read, or I can use these calipers, which are probably more precise, but also I need a magnifying glass to use them, really. There is, however, a third option. This is a micrometer. And now we come to the real question of both accuracy and trust. I say trust because this caliper and this one are both bought from the hardware store. Now the hardware store is a great place, but they specialise in selling you timber and tools to help you make a deck in the weekend. If you're a house builder or a carpenter, they can more than sort you out. If you're a landscaper, rock on. However, they do not do machine work. They sell drills that will drill through steel, and that is really about it. This, on the other hand, is from an auto parts store. Now with building, you can get away with being out by less than a millimetre because it's a deck. Nobody cares, it's a deck. This, on the other hand, is meant for use with engines, where if your engine piston or your engine valves are out by less than a millimetre, your engine might blow up. So I trust this micrometer to be accurate a great deal more than I trust either of these calipers. So with that said, let's see what the micrometer says the diameter of this rod is. I'm able to check this because the rod is 20 millimeters and the maximum capacity of the micrometer is 25 millimeters. I'm trying to do this so that the camera can see, which is making it awkward. I'm also using the clutch so that I don't put too much pressure on. That locks it. That is the reading we have. For those playing along at home, this reads 20.07 millimeters. So this rod here, the place I measured it, is 20.07. Let's try a different section of the rod. It's a far cry from the 19.9 something that the calipers claimed, isn't it? 20.05 on this one. Okay, let's try the very end where I filed it down a wee bit. Ah, 20.08. This is very inconsistent. Either way, it's still a lot more than what these calipers said it was. I trust the micrometer a lot more than I do the calipers, which means that my calipers are out and I cannot trust them for precision work anymore. However, before I wind this back in, how can we check the bores on these with this? I can do it with these calipers using these top parts I showed you before. How can I measure this when this measures the outside diameter? This is a set of telescopic bore gauges, or as Blondie Hacks calls them, snap gauges. They come in a range of sizes, each intended for a certain range of bore. We're dealing with 20 millimeters, so the C gauge one is what we want. This is the first time I've ever used these, so you'll have to bear with me, I'm afraid. The idea is you push the arms in and you lock it with the nut. See how they're locked in there now? And you put the gauge, assuming you got it right, into the bore and you release the nut. You hold the handle of the gauge perpendicular to the bore, do the nut back up, and theoretically those two arms that were spring loaded should be the same size as your bore. So let's test the theory. This is the very first time I've tried to use these, and it's on camera. There we go. I do not know how well you can see that, but it pretty well reads 20 millimeters exactly for the bore on this, which is not the 19 point something that the cheap calipers claimed. I think we better try that with the Chinese ones too, don't you? So, undo the snap gauge, push the arms back in and do up the nut, and put the snap gauge into the bore. Make sure that the handle is parallel to the axis and do it up. Maybe if I hold it like this. So I'm trying to hold this in a way that you guys can see what I'm doing. "20 millimeters according to the micrometer and the snap gauge. So this has been a lesson in metrology, not as in the study of weather, but as in the study of measurement itself. If you get things wrong with the weather, you can just say, whoops, it's a chaotic system, my bad. Whereas if you get things wrong with the science of measurement, people get grumpy, like I am now with my cheap calipers, which were cheap for a reason. So now I know when it says 0.01, it is lying. I cannot trust it, which is very annoying because it's so easy to read. So there's the lesson for the day. Just because something is easy doesn't mean it's right. This has been Have a Go. I'm Alan, and thank you for not falling to sleep.